could you help me develop a place-based orientation activity? Two sort of problems that I'm coming up against when I'm thinking about doing place-based orientation at Western. One is a big difference between students and faculty, which is that most of our students come from the region. And so place-based orientation is very different for them. And then most of our faculty don't come from the region. They move from outside the region. So how do I come up with an activity that can do both of those things? To orient people to this place and our responsibilities, while also sort of navigating the different ways that we're coming to this place. So some of the context is that in the past, I've done what I've called a treaty workshop, which focuses on the Treaty of Point Elliott of 1855. And I focused on that because the treaty belongs to all of us, not just to Native people, but it belongs to anyone who lives here just by virtue of us living here. But being in a new virtual world most of the time has changed how I want to do that activity. And so I need to figure out some new ways to be able to make an activity that people can be engaged in as they normally would be in person, sort of in a different realm.
So Theresa, could you share more about who you're working with on this?
Sure. So I've mostly been I've worked with the community engagement fellows before. And so I've run the workshop at a number of different levels. I've run it as part of every class that I teach at Western. So I've adjusted it depending on the content of my class. When I do a gender-focused class, we focus on the gendered aspects. When I do a literary class, we focus on how it operates as a literary text. But I've also done it for new and incoming faculty, and also as part of the FIG program, which is a program that helps integrate first-year students into Western. So people who are just coming to campus, often this is their first time at Western, it's their very first class. And then I've also run it for some staff as part of staff professional development. Now what I'd like to do is sort of expand that and work with an instructor that I know at Northwest Indian College who's teaching there, also who's teaching Intro to Native Lit in the fall as well. And so I'd like to sort of collaborate on that as a way of building relationships between a tribally focused institution and an institution that's funded by the state.
Can you share more about what you've seen in this virtual environment that gives you hope on how you can connect students and faculty to place-based activities?
One of the challenges of it is that we are all in different places when we're doing virtual sort of interaction. A lot of faculty, for instance, are in Bellingham. We have this sort of benefit that most of our students live in the region. So even if they're at home, we're still sharing this space. One of the things that's coming out of having to be online all the time is wanting to be grounded in place.
I wonder if you could share more about what you think success will look like for this project.
I think there's two main things that I'm looking for to know that I'm succeeding at this project. One is that I want it to be able to be accessed by a wide variety of people at their own pace and from different levels of knowledge. So people can come to it as people who know a lot about tribal sovereignty or tribal governance, or as people who've maybe never heard the names of the tribes of whose land they live on, and still get something out of it. The second, I think, is I will know that this is successful when it's something that people can do at their own pace. So one of the things I'm looking for help with is to figure out how to come up with an activity that can be done on people's own schedule and with their own sort of knowledge base. So something that I don't necessarily need to be there to run, but something that I can create that people can have sort of more personal investment in.
Is there anything else you'd like to share?
I envision this sort of project as part of a larger goal of doing this kind of orientation at Western more broadly. Like, what would be the ultimate success is that every student and faculty member who comes in gets a kind of place-based orientation that's focused on learning about our responsibilities to this land and its people. And this is like one activity that I'm hoping to develop that can lead us there.
Thank you so much. This is such a great question, and I can't wait to dive into it. Thanks again.
Thank you.